welcome to another edition of the Glittery Bones of Advertising. I'm Craig McLeod, and lovely to be with you again. Nice to have my friends with me as well. Hi there, how are you going? Nice to see you all.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. I'm actor Troy McClure.
Hi, I'm actor Troy McClure. You might remember me from such instructional videos as Dig Your Own Grave and Save. But the reason, just for context, I thought it might be worth our while. Actually, it wasn't me, it was Gabs. It thought it might be worth our while picking the juicy meat off the bone of contextual advertising. And we might even have a scratch and sniff at behavioral targeting as well, but ultimately contextual-based advertising.
Yes.
And in doing so, maybe we just straight off.
Where did those big words come from, Craig?
Gab said them. I just re-sent them. Like I just sent them a second time. Like he said the smart stuff, and I just kind of sent them again because I'm reading off like a cue card. Like
very nice, very nice. Like at the Oscars. Yeah.
Thanks,
Anyway,
JD. I really enjoyed that. That was lovely of you. But ultimately, let's take a quick look at the ad in question this week. Now it's an interesting one, but let's throw it up and see what you think.
Hi, Mum.
Hi, Nan.
Hello.
When the night has come and the land is dark.
Is this Nan? Didn't know she played.
Yeah, in the 50s, I think. She taught you to kick. Remember?
No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long.
Your destination is on the left.
Stand by me.
Shoot me on your boot.
Okay.
First thing I'm going to say is I'd like to be the people
greatest
team of
Google. I'd like to be those people. I'd like to be the one making the ad for Google. Like that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what do you think?
I liked it. I think it was I don't think it's necessarily a Google ad, but like it's as googly an ad as Google has ever done. And I think it works. I think it makes people feel nice about Google, and it makes people, I mean, it's footy in Melbourne, like footy. It's that time of year when it's like footy season.
How's the timing?
Yeah.
Gabs, you can maybe drop straight into some contextual relevance on that one. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is an ad spot that's running heavily through the whole footy season, runs pretty much every game. And I thought as we come into footy finals, why not take a look at it? I think it's interesting. Contextual advertising is huge, and the ability to target in the digital realm is incredibly powerful. And it's very interesting to see brands, and I'm sure it's been done for many years, but my background looking from a digital lens and then how that's implemented across more of a traditional landscape is one thing to note from my perspective. I think as well, when I compare this ad to what we watched last week, for me, this is done right. I think the way that they've brought the product in to tell the story has been very native and very subtle, which has brought an element of, I guess, emotive class to the ad, shall I say, compared to what we watched last week. I felt like this is an example of how to do it properly. And finally, the soundtrack just gets me. I don't know, a good soundtrack. I love this song and the story that they're telling and supporting the AFL Women's League as well. I think there's that angle to it that lends itself to being that supportive brand, not just trying to sell seats at the footy or trying to get people onto Google. It had some sort of, I guess, bigger picture that it was trying to tell as well.
Yeah, so for punters playing along at home, perhaps we need to start with what contextual advertising is. So just ultimately, if you're not familiar, I mean, it's not your thing, but you're listening along. Ultimately, contextual advertising refers to the way in which you're placing ads based on the content of web pages or in the digital space. So you're actually looking for relevance to what it is you're talking about. So for example, we could use something like if we were looking at placing an ad for running shoes, you know, and there was a news article that was actually about running, then that would be contextually relevant advertising, just so that people are aware of what we're talking about here.
Yeah. And I think it looks, it's moved beyond the classic kind of sports sponsorship advertising. Like,
Yeah.
I know people are far too young to remember, but let me take you back to 1984 when McDonald's famously said to everyone, we're going to give away a free burger for every gold medal that the USA wins at the Summer Olympics in 1984. And what the brainiacs at McDonald's forgot to factor in was in 1980, they boycotted the Moscow Games. And so all of the Eastern Bloc countries boycotted the 1984 games in Los Angeles.
So they won all the golds.
And so America won like just a poultice, like 200 gold medals or something. And all of these people going in and getting their free burger. And then when they got a free burger, they got another medallion, which entitled them to another free burger.
Oh, just like burgers going everywhere. We love a burger.
McDonald's profits just went.
But anyway, relevance and the way this one's particularly working for me, I love it. And I think the way they draw in the simple search that the younger lady in the commercial does and about, you know, can something or other without help with Alzheimer's, I thought was amazing. So good. And for me, it was about the casting. So I think the younger girl is brilliant, the mum and then the grandma, because I don't know if you've ever been in this situation, but having a partner's grandmother who had Alzheimer's and going there and not being recognized, like having no idea who you were. And the response the older lady makes when she says, hello, as if I don't know who you are, but then going through the process where the daughter's talking about, you know, grandma actually she played with Geelong and then, you know, getting her to a Geelong AFL women's game. And then when she puts her hand on the daughter, I'm just like, oh, still gives me chills like right now, you know, having lost my mum, but like such an incredible feeling that gave me. So I think they just nailed it. Like it was really emotionally perfect for me. So tick, I think it's one of the great ones, really good. And I was wrapped when Gabs put it up as one we could look at.
In a 1 minute spot as well, they captured so many
great things happen.
Yeah, messages and so many, I guess, different layers to it. Such a short period. I really loved it. Caro, what did you think?
All the cues.
No, I agree. I thought it was a really beautiful story. And like you were saying, Gabs, in comparison to last week and that kind of tying a motive to a brand, I think that Google did it much better. There is a little bit of a stretch, and I don't know if it's perhaps if you know AFL more, it didn't occur to me, but when Noel was watching it, he was like, there was only one exhibition match for female footy in the 50s. So like they've obviously done their research, but there's probably, like last week, it's a little bit of a stretch what they're trying to play on there with the grandma. But I think regardless of that, there was the one match and, you know, it's to be believed that she played in it. But I think the way that they tied in their brand and the searching didn't feel too contrived, and that felt kind of quite natural. So I think that was really lovely. And like you said, the song as well, like it's absolutely pulls on the heartstrings. And of course, being footy season as well, like that all makes sense. So I think the strategy behind it was fantastic, and also the execution as well was really, really well done. So kudos to the Googs.
I'll tell you one thing it does make me on. I think they should take more football back to suburban football grounds, because that grandstand was fantastic.
Yeah, wasn't it? You know what it reminded me of? I don't know if you guys or any of you are familiar, but I've been lucky enough to go to a couple of the old VFA grounds, and it looked like Port Melbourne, looked like the old Port Melbourne ground, just that beautiful red brick building. It was absolutely spectacular. I loved it. So clever.
I've been to a couple of games at Punt Road, just, you know, watching the Ammos knocking around. Oh, it's fantastic. Get to sit up there and buddy coffee. And,
Love it. Outstanding. Absolutely brilliant. But let's go from something fabulous to something that's a little bit unusual, and we're really going to get a little bit of what the fuck is going on here from a crikey point of view, and trying to wrap Lachlan Murdoch up in this thing that happened with Donald Trump and inciting the riot, and now having our prime ministers who are all pissed at Lachlan and his dad, who are tipping dough into this campaign to fight the defamation. Like, I think that they say that Lockie's dad never fought a defamation case. Like, he would never, like, traditionally he just wouldn't do it. But obviously Lachlan's of a different cut, and he was obviously incited. Okay, we'll go on, sue us. Let's test it in a court case. So here we are. And JD, perhaps you can give a bit better context for the punters listening than I probably can on what it's all about.
This reminds me of a joke that backfires on both, practical joke that backfires on both people. Like, they're both trying to, like, you sue us. No, you sue us first. No, all right, I'll bloody sue you. All right, well, I'll sue you back. Like, it's just like two kids, buddy, and it's the little, preppy kid against the buddy grade 7 bully. Like, it's just so. Crikey was talking about Trump being, he's been he was responsible for the January 6th riots. Yep. And I think the quote was, and Murdoch is his unindicted co-conspirator, something like that.
Yep. Words to that effect.
Yeah. And they were talking about, my understanding is they were talking about Rupert, dad. But Lachlan's now co-chairman of News Limited. And he's just said, but he, well, have you take it down? And so Crikey's taken it down. But then for some reason, I think Lachlan's had someone in Lachlan's law team has gone, no, we'll just, taking it down's not enough. So, and then Crikey have gone, well, if it's not enough, buddy, here it is. And here's all the letters that we've sent. And here it is again. And here's why we think it's true. And one of the things that they've come back and they've said is, Lachlan Murdoch is saying that Crikey is saying that he is committing treason against the United States of America. And that, in an Australian court, seems odd to me. But also, how can he commit treason against the United States when he's not a citizen of the United States? So, unless Lachlan Murdoch is secretly the owner of Crikey and is just trying to stir up a little bit of extra business for one arm. I'm just like if we're into conspiracy theories, there you go.
And what about the Prime Ministers, JD? What's all this about? What's the idea behind people tipping money into Crikey to help fight the...
Yeah, so they've started a GoFundMe page. Crikey have started a GoFundMe page, and two of Australia's ex-Prime Ministers, Kevin Rudd and our mate Malcolm, have both tipped in $5,000.
I think that's even more so like the what the fuck that they're both like so wealthy.
Did they find that in like
they've just put in their pocket change? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I found this down the back of the couch. Here, why don't you take this?
Totally.
What about Malcolm Turnbull's comment, which is what cracked me up, is Lockie's boat's worth more than Crikey.
But they had this picture of Lachlan and Sarah. Is it Sarah? Sarah Murdoch?
Yeah.
And it's just the way they're standing.
The Vanity Fair one,
the light is kind of hitting them. But it looks like House of Cards. It looks like an ad for House of Cards for some reason. Like it's just there's people. It just reminds me that there are people like there's me, and then there's like reasonably wealthy people like your good self, Craig McLeod, and then there's like Malcolm Turnbull, and then there's like way up there's Lachlan Murdoch. Like, why is he bothering with Crikey? Why is he suing two blokes sitting in their back garage in, Potts Point or something?
I think it was just because he was challenged. I mean, he would know, but I think just because they said, well, go on, sue me, and he's gone, well, okay, fuck it, I will.
Yeah.
How's that? You stuck on those apples. What do you think of that? And again, I don't know what's going to play out. But the other thing that I just wanted to briefly touch on was the fact that these people wrote an open letter to the New York Times and basically highlighted all of the claims that Lachlan was making. So, like, really, you're just poking the bear so much. Like, why would you do that?
Well, I think it works for crikey. I mean, I think the best way to get famous is to pick a fight with someone bigger than you.
Perhaps.
And it doesn't matter whether you win or lose. You get there'll be more people visiting crikey than if Lachlan Murdoch had just shut up. And he can only win in Australian court, can only win $445,000. That's the limit. That's the top limit of anything he can get.
But was the claim, I don't think it was a monetary claim, wasn't it? Didn't he just want an apology? I don't think he wants money. I think he just wants it.
He doesn't need money, goddammit. He doesn't need any more money. I think it's more like grandstanding and saying, don't fuck with me.
Or maybe it was there and we didn't see that as part of what they published in the New York Times. But ultimately, I didn't see a part that was monetary. Like, it wasn't about him saying I wanted $500,000 or $445,000.
It's just
one thing I just wanted to touch on as well. Sorry to hijack, but I did want to just say extraordinary outcome for Chris Dawson on the back of Hedley Thomas's podcast, The Teacher's Pet, with him being found guilty of murder last week in a judge-only trial, but the verdict was handed down in the murder of his wife, Lynette Dawson. So I just thought extraordinary bit of investigative journalism from Hedley Thomas, who I'm a massive rap on. Like, this guy's a genius in my book. Smart, articulate, like clever, witty, like all of the good things you want in someone that's actually there, but searching for the truth. Like, if this happened, it's extraordinary that he dug it up, because I don't know whether it came to him for the potential of the podcast, but then also you've got like Harvey Norman and Katie Page who back all of those podcasts against violence against women. Just extraordinary that it all happened. And for now, 4 years later, he's actually been found guilty.
Yeah,
I think it will be interesting as well to see if the new law passes that they're trying to push of the no body, no parole, because that was really what they wanted. Like, they were saying if you give up her location,
like where she is, bring her home so they can bury her. You'll be able to get
parole at some point, but it should be a law that no parole is given if the body is not handed over, or the location of the body. So I think that will be.
Isn't that a key? Isn't that a key piece of the defence's argument? Not necessarily in this case.
Very hard to prove a murder case without a body. That's one thing that they say, and I only know.
And it's not all. Some Australian states have that in place, but where he was tried, it's not, that's not a law there. So they're trying to, the family is really trying to push that as being, a law that's introduced. So it'll be a interesting watch and see, but he's sitting in his little cell away from everyone else because there's been so much coverage. So he's under protection in jail now as well. So what a mess. Well,
on the back of all of that stuff, there was some serious stuff there for a minute, which is unusual.
Lighten it up.
Let's lighten it up with a little bit of harmonics. Now, this time, in keeping with the fabulous footy theme that's about to take place. Now, I also just wanted to say I've watched every sports doco under the sun since the last AFL game to this next one on Friday night, because if there's no sport in my life, I shrivel up. I've watched shit tons of NRL games. I've watched every sport doco that there is possibly in the search for just more sport. So we are going to do AFL brands. Pick that.
Dustin Martin. Sorry, just getting warmed up.
Pick that brand. Pick that brand. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you a little cue from each of the brands, and it might just be a colour, and you're going to go,
are we picking the club?
Brisbane.
Okay, cool.
And I'll be like, no, you banana, it's the Eagles.
Yeah.
So there's only 6. I'm only going to do 6 because otherwise we could be here all day.
Yep.
Yeah. Just randomly yelling out names of football clubs. Yeah.
Yep. I am. Okay, I'm going to start off with just a colour cue and a lightning bolt.
Put power.
Johnny.
Oh, fuck.
That's number 1. Okay, the next one is similar to a pigeon.
Swan.
Yes, magpie. Filthy bird it is. But go pies nonetheless. Hot pies. That's 2.
Sorry, the hot pigeons. The pigeons are Pigeons are playing
Pigeons are
Geelong.
the rats of the air, aren't they? That's what they're called.
Flying
and the magpies
rats.
are the dirty swoopers that come after your eyes. Dodgy. Okay.
Pigeons.
Okay. I hold a trident.
Oh,
Port?
Brisbane.
no.
Lions.
No.
Adelaide? Don't they have
No,
a
it's not. No, sorry. Let's start that one again. Let's start that one. Let's take that
Melbourne
bit out
Storm.
altogether.
Yeah.
What?
Melbourne Storm.
Yes, Melbourne Storm. Sorry, that's not
AFL.
AFL. We went the wrong way. We went the wrong way.
Yeah.
We went the
Look
wrong
at me. This is
way.
my happy dance.
Okay, this brand in particular is synonymous with Chardonnay.
Oh,
Melbourne?
Manly.
Don't they have the
Yes.
Chardonnays and the charcuterie
Melbourne,
boards?
that's right. Yes, like, oh, hi, we're at the MCC. Let's
Yes.
just go and watch some football, shall we?
Yes, I got one.
Chardonnay.
Oh, well,
Okay, that's 3 real ones and 1 Melbourne Storm, which was good. You guys picked up on the Storm.
Master Chardonnay and a wheel of brie, please. What do you mean?
Okay, we have a C in white in our logo. C.
Carlton.
Yes, CARO, dirty Carlton. Have you got the logos up?
No, I'm looking at you.
I don't know. I see your eyes darting dodgily.
No.
4. Meow.
Cats.
Geelong.
Johnny, I think might have got that.
I think
We might have to go back to the tape.
Kitty
put it on
cats.
the replay.
Okay. Big Red V.
Oh,
Philly
what?
one.
Devon.
Oh, I think Gab's got it. Want to do a few more just because it's so much fun?
Oh,
Yeah,
let's
go
do
through
a
the
few
whole
more,
team.
but I'd like to
Okay.
bring out the
Yellow
tape on that
and
one.
brown. Hawthorn. Yes.
No, they stink.
Poos and Wees.
Who makes
Um,
chocolate cheese.
We have a 2-tone beak in our logo.
Eagles.
No,
Close, but
crows.
no, theirs is a single color beak.
Crows.
Suns.
Nope, they have a single color beak as well.
West.
Who else has a beak?
Crows.
Hawthorn!
Oh.
Christ, Cara, I was throwing you the biggest cue there possibly is. You're like, Hawthorn, Hawthorn.
I forgot that they were even hawks. So I just saw like Poos and
Yeah.
Wees makes chocolate cheese.
Okay.
Okay.
This team also has a shared aminal in their logo with one of our favorite airlines.
Oh, kangaroos.
Kangaroos.
Oh, Johnny got that as well.
Shit.
Okay. This is probably the ugliest logo in the AFL, in my humble opinion.
Brisbane Lions.
AFL.
Oh no, Brisbane's good, Gabs. What do you mean?
The AFL logo itself. The
and it
AFL
has an
logo
anchor
itself.
in it.
Oh, Fremantle.
Yes, Johnny.
Really?
Fremantle.
Fremantle's quite, I think it's
The AFL
Gosh.
logo is ridiculous. Just needs to be fresh.
Okay. This is one of the new ones, and it's
Oh, Chris
single-
Nuts.
GW.
straight on foot.
That was extraordinarily good. Okay. This team stole their logo and name, I believe, I don't know that it's true, from an American team.
Western Bulldogs.
No,
The Giants.
the Giants, JD.
Ah,
The Giants, yes. Okay. When Homer Simpson sings this song, he doesn't say, oh, when the...
Oh,
Saints.
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 Oh, Gabs again. Okay, there's only a few to go now.
Essendon. Lions.
Lions.
Caro with the
Lions.
Lions. Okay, I have
Eagles.
a single tone, single color beak.
Eagles. Crows.
Yes, JD,
West
there
Coast.
is 2 here. And the other one?
West
Crows.
Coast.
West Coast.
No, John got the West Coast.
Yeah,
He said the
Crows.
Eagles. So
Crows.
Adelaide.
Adelaide.
Rose, Caro.
I got it. I've been saying it for the last 30 seconds. I've been saying
Oh,
Crows.
sorry,
That
go back
one's
to the
a
tape.
TT, mate.
You'll have to go back to the tape. I was
All right.
Come on,
Who's
just getting
left?
competitive. Just
Okay,
Who's-
I believe there's only 2 left, but I could be wrong.
Bombers.
Yes. And the last one, last one is-
Western
Sydney.
Bulldogs.
Punt
Sydney
road.
Swans.
Bulldogs.
Sydney Swans.
Richmond.
Richmond. So
Where's
it was
the
2 left
Swans?
then, Gabs. And you
No,
got them both.
Swans. We
Bulldogs
did
and
Swans
Richmond.
with the red, with the white, the V. We did the V.
Oh, did we do Swans? Oh, well,
We did.
whatever.
We did this one.
Speaking of the Tigers, though.
Okay.
Speaking of the Tigers, has anyone seen the latest kerfuffle with the Tigers just 3 hours before, well, 7 hours before kickoff?
No.
Did they have a
Dustin
bender?
Martin's- Some video
Oh,
has-
Dustin Martin. Yes, I heard
has
about this.
emerged from like years and years ago, where it was some strip club, and
Groping.
he manhandled one of the young ladies.
Uh-oh. So he's working out a Geordie de Goey's playbook.
But apparently the video's from 2017 and it's only just been released.
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
Gosh. Okay. Well, let's leave that there, shall we? That's another edition of the Bones of Advertising. We'll come back next week and see what happens to Dusty. I reckon that'll be our what the hell. Toodaloo, don't go changing.
Bye.
Bye.